Peace to the planet. You know what it is, a D to the bishop. Listen, it's always about jiu-jitsu and philosophy over here. If you haven't seen my last episode, Professor Mike Morrell, about the future of footlocks, you're slipping. You're already slipping. You're late. Go get a late pass, jump on, handle it yourself. You know what I mean? It's not just about jiu-jitsu. It's not, none of these episodes are ever just about jiu-jitsu. They're always about how jiu-jitsu and other things, books, meditation, diet, etc., conversations with other humans are impacting and informing and elevating your life. So don't ever forget that. And I'm super serious about that. Don't ever forget that. But listen, I've been reading a very amazing book. It's called How to Think Like Socrates by Donald J. Robertson. Never met him. Took one of his online courses on Stoicism when I first started learning about it. Was blown away. He's one of my favorite authors of the modern time, right? So he has this book called How to Think Like Socrates. All of you should buy it. That's the thing. I just bought one, gave it to my daughter because I said, you know what? There's never been a crazier time than right now to be unclear on what the truth is. And at the same time, the world has never been so diligent in spreading things that were untrue and wanting you to believe them so they could get paid, so they could get your vote, so they could get whatever they want, right? So I was thinking while teaching about jiu-jitsu, and I said, oh my God, why is this sport moving so fast? Why is it elevating? Why are the techniques different? Why is the black belt that I have different than the black belt that Elio and Carlos Gracie had, different than the belt that my students of the future will have? Because it's always elevating. I've always told you, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not like traditional martial arts. It is alive. It is alive, meaning that there's new information, new finishing holds, new positions, new ways of attacking, new ways of escaping, always evolving. And the internet even makes it move faster. Okay. I said, oh man, as I learned more and more about Socrates, again, How to Think Like Socrates by Donald J. Robertson, I said, wow, you know what the deal is? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is outstripping, and MMA, I would say, are outstripping traditional martial arts because they are the most Socratic method of self-defense ever created. The traditional method of learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu represents the purest application of Socratic pedagogy in modern practice, where knowledge emerges not through lecture, but through constant questioning, testing, and dialogue on the mats. Every sparring session becomes an examination where your assumptions about techniques are immediately challenged by reality, forcing you to confront what you truly know versus what you think you know. This relentless process of hypothesis testing through live rolling creates an environment where technique must prove their worth against resistance, leading to the art's rapid evolution, and ineffective methods are naturally discarded and innovations are quickly validated or rejected. The immediate, honest feedback of physical interaction strips away ego and pretense, creating the kind of authentic learning environment that Socrates championed. One where wisdom grows through acknowledging ignorance and building understanding through experience rather than dogma. This is precisely why people become so deeply attached to BJJ. It offers the rare satisfaction of genuine learning, where every breakthrough feels earned and every piece of knowledge has been personally tested and internalized through the crucible of practice. Oh no, that's not in the book. That's D sharing wisdom, which you written. I didn't want to botch it by trying to freestyle the knowledge. You know what I mean? But this is the reality. This is the reality, right? I told my students, I said, this is the most Socratic method on the planet. Because I will show you a move and then you will say, oh, but what happens if the guy is punching? This is the answer. What happens if they try to pick you up because you're doing a close guard move and they're going to try and slam you on the sidewalk? This is how you stop it. What if they try to do that but then go there? This is how you stop it. What happens if you go there? I don't know. Let me call Gumby. I don't know. Let me call Half. Let me call Professor Dorian. Let me call Josh. Let me call. You know what I'm saying? And then you go, oh, that's how you do it. Can you send me a video? Megatron, can you hit me back? Professor Leo Jones Jr., can you hit me back? How does that throw work? How do you stop it? Oh, for real? This is why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA are growing past and beyond traditional martial arts. And that is no disrespect to the cultural value or the historical value or the technical value of all traditional martial arts. It is not. You will never see me downgrading kung fu, downgrading karate, especially karate. Karate is hella dangerous. So is judo. What are you talking about? Right? But other martial arts sometimes may not be as technically capable, but that doesn't mean that they're worthless. That doesn't mean that their foundations are not real, and that doesn't mean that they're not valuable. This is exactly the kind of mindset that Bruce Lee was advocating for before he died. But nobody reads the Tao of Jeet Kune Do anymore. Nobody actually reads anything anymore. I'm even shocked inside Jiu-Jitsu classes. I'll say, how many of you guys are reading books on Jiu-Jitsu techniques? Almost no hands go up. Everybody's trying to get it off TikTok. Everybody's trying to get it off Instagram. Nobody's looking at the positions of old and seeing if they apply, how we can remix them. And this is a tragedy. But don't you ever forget one day in your life that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and modern MMA are the single most Socratic methods on the planet for learning how to defend yourself. And that's why they work. And that's why you should be training. That's why your kid should be training. That's why your daughter should know it. That's why your friends, your aunties, everybody should know something. In these crazy ass times, you better believe it. And the bishop is out. Holla at a scholar. You know what I'm saying? It's not a game out here, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're really doing it out here. You know what I'm saying? Holla at a scholar, boy. And check the last episode. And I got more episodes coming. All right? One love.